Today we are looking at the interior of this 2025 BMW i7 eDrive50. Let's see if the i7 is worth $112,000 on the interior. $112,000 is a lot of money to spend on a car, but this BMW i7 makes every penny worth it. On the door panel, you will find leather on the upper part, some glass crystal trim which also doubles as your ambient lighting through the center area. That's really cool. Glass crystal on your seat controls, this real metal speaker grill for your Bowers & Wilkins sound system, gloss black around your switchgear and on your switchgear, leather on your armrest, some white contrast stitching, and you also have some leather at the bottom. There is a good amount of space in the door pockets, and there's a little button to open the door. For the M Sport model, you will have M branding on your tread plates. These seats are absolutely gorgeous and they are super comfortable. They are made of quilted merino leather with 20 ways of power adjusting, heating, ventilation, and available massaging. You also have wood trim with the M colors on the headrests. But now let's go ahead and check out all of the luxurious features this BMW i7 has to offer. Starting with the steering wheel, it is going to be very nicely weather wrapped and heated. You get a boost pedal right here which will give you some extra power for a limited amount of time. You have cruise control buttons, audio controls, M branding at the bottom. The i7 also has a flat bottom steering wheel. And here is proof that the turn signals actually work. The gauge cluster is very customizable and looks quite nice. To customize the gauges, you're just going to push this button right here, and that will bring up a bunch of different settings. You can also have a full screen map, and you can also change the layout if you choose. This is quite nice, and you also have a very detailed head-up display. The materials in this BMW i7, even for the base model, are top-notch. You get stitched leather on the upper dash, glossy wood trim, some glass crystal that also serves as your ambient lighting, more glossy wood trim on the center console, as well as some gloss black. You also get more glass crystal on your shifter, start-stop button, and also your infotainment scroll wheel. But now let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage. You get a wireless phone charging pad right there, two cup holders with their own individual doors. That is really nice. And then under the center console, you will find a good amount of room with two USB ports and a rubber and felt lining. But now let's move on to the climate controls. Like in most new BMWs, the climate controls are going to be in the infotainment system. However, you do get physical buttons for your rear and front defrost. You also have this menu at the bottom so you can quickly change the temperature if you want. And you also have controls for steering wheel heating, and seat ventilation. What I really like about this i7 is that you actually get 3 stages of steering wheel heating. For the rest of the climate control menu, just push this fan right here, and that will bring up all of your menus. This does look very complicated, but I can assure you it is very easy to use. If you want to quickly turn it on or off, you're just going to push this button right here. So that is quite nice. Everything else is pretty straightforward. But now we need to talk about the rest of this BMW i7's infotainment system. This is a 14.9-inch display running BMW's latest eDrive50 infotainment system. You get this large map right here, and you also have a bunch of widgets right here. You can control your music, and you also have a personal assistant. This personal assistant is very useful because you can say something like, "Hey BMW, heat my seats." It is going to know the driver is talking and it is going to heat the driver's seats. You can also say on the models that have the power doors, open all doors or close all doors. That is really nice, and BMW's new personal assistant is just amazing. Beyond the amazing personal assistant, the BMW i7 has an absolutely amazing infotainment system. It is very responsive, as you can see right here with the built-in navigation, and you have a lot of apps including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That is huge because a lot of new electric vehicles do not include those features. You also have a bunch of displays for your charging, and I really like the way BMW has laid out this infotainment system. That is how you get to your navigation if you don't want to use the button right here. And then you also have built-in Wi-Fi, a messaging app, and you can also control a lot of things with your doors and your windows. Overall, this infotainment system is amazing. It can be a little distracting to use while driving with the climate controls, but besides that, BMW absolutely nailed this. Now, if you don't want to touch the screen, there's always this glass crystal scroll wheel right here. I would actually use this more than touching the screen because this feels so high quality, I do not want to stop using it. Also, the button clicks feel absolutely amazing and so satisfying. Now this is made of real glass crystal, so you can see it glimmering in the sunlight. And you also have a 20-speaker Bowers & Wilkins sound system. This is the volume scroll wheel right here, and it is also made of glass crystal. The shifter is also made of glass crystal. Push up for reverse, and that will bring up a very high resolution backup camera with a 360-degree view. There's also a 3D view, so you can use this right here, or you can also use gestures. This sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, so I find myself using this most of the time. But this is just really nice because you can also adjust the volume and a lot of other things through this, so I think it's a really cool gimmick that BMW has included. There's also a car wash view, and you can also clean the cameras. And let's exit out of that 3D view, if it will let me. Maybe not. Parking view, there we go. You also have a lot of other camera angles, like this right there. And then, let's go ahead and test out the parking sensors. So you can see there are little graphics that pop up right there. And then it is starting to make a sound right as I get close to the tripod. Now when I take my foot off the brake, it actually isn't going to move because there is regenerative braking on this car, so just keep that in mind. That will take some getting used to. Parking sensors work quite well in the i7. To put it into park, you're just going to push the parking brake button. Up top, you're going to find an auto-dimming frameless rearview mirror, and you will also find this very large fixed glass roof. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side. The door panel is basically the same, with leather from top to bottom, real metal on your speaker grills, and a lot of glass crystal for your seat controls and for ambient lighting. You get M branding on your trip plates, and the seats are going to be super comfortable, and they will have the same functions as the driver's side. You also get 2-person memory seats on the passenger side, which is kind of rare to see even on a luxury car. On the dashboard, you will find glossy wood trim with the M colors, some glass crystal ambient lighting, and the vents are controlled by these little toggles right here. I honestly could not figure out how to open the glove box, so unfortunately we cannot take a look at that today. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the rear seats because that's where you really want to be in the BMW i7. Starting with the door panel, you'll get leather from top to bottom, a real metal speaker grill, even quilted leather at the bottom, which is something even the front seat passengers don't get, and this really nice screen. We're going to get into that a little bit later. You get M branded tread plates, and the seats are going to be incredibly comfortable. They are made of quilted leather, and you get a pillow on the headrest, heating, power adjusting, and memory seating for 2. Here is a very good shot of how much space you actually get in the BMW i7 and the attention to detail even on the back of the seats. You get vents on the B-pillar for extra ventilation, and you have over a foot of legroom even with the seats foot almost all the way back. On the back of the seat, you get a USB-C port as well as an iPad mount and this very large seat back pockets. In the middle, you will have some wood trim, vents, as well as this little area to store some things. But now let's go ahead and dive right into this little screen that is kind of like a phone on the door panel. You can power adjust the seats with these buttons right here, and you also have your 2-person memory seating. This screen is incredibly responsive and very easy to use. Going into the blinds menu, you can click individual windows to cover, so clicking the left window, the blind is going to go up, and there's even a little mini blind that is going to cover the smaller part. And now this is what it looks like when it is going up for the right side. You can also control the moonroof shade as well as the shade for the back window. But now let's check out the rest of the functions of this little screen. You can change a few display settings like the brightness, so that is pretty straightforward. And if you go back to the home screen, you have a few different menus. You can change the warmth or the brightness of the reading lights, and you can also change the ambient lighting as well as the brightness of those too. You also have My Modes, so this is kind of hard to explain, but the car is going to change a few settings like the sunshades or the ambient lighting based on the My Mode. You can also control the climate controls right here. This is a 4-zone climate control system included on the i7, and you also have heated seats in the back. The pillows on the headrest are going to be super comfortable, and when you fold down the middle seats, you're going to find an armrest as well as a little storage area. You can also pull this, and you will have 2 cup holders. These cup holders are very oddly shaped, however. In the center console, you will find 2 USB-C ports as well as a pretty good amount of storage with felt lining. Pull this back to bring the cup holders back into their home, and you can fold it up for a 5th passenger. Now this is only scratching the surface because the i7 can have some pretty insane options for the backseat area, but we are not going to get into that today. But now let's take a look at the cargo area. To open the trunk, there is hands-free access, so you just kick your foot underneath the bumper, and that is going to open the trunk right up. The i7 has a cavernous trunk, measuring in at 17.7 cubic feet of space. You also have a bag for your charging cables and a cubby to the right side. Also, there is going to be this very large area underneath the floor. You should have no problem with space in the BMW i7.